Hello.
Hi.
So, first off, how's your father?
Well, last night about was about 8:30. So I was like preparing the last bits for my show, and my mom says, "You got to take Dad to the emergency room. He just cut off his thumb." I'm like, "Oh my God, okay." And he had he was working with the table saw without me, and normally we do it together,
Hmm.
just so I can push stuff through and stuff. Well, he didn't want to bother me, but he wanted to cut some stuff. So he was doing it while I was preparing for my show, but he didn't turn the machine off and he was trying to clean it out. And he just
Oh.
went like this with the end of his thumb right over the blade. And it went up the side of it, inside of his hand, right
Ooh.
like that. And it took the end of his bone off. It's probably like in the garage somewhere. Hopefully, a mutant rat eats it and then gets my dad's DNA in him
And he
and
turns
then
into
becomes
Splinter?
like, well, yeah, or a clone of my dad. That'd
But
be
he's
cool.
okay.
Yeah. And then he only had 4 stitches, but they
Okay.
said that's because his fingernail was holding it all together.
So it went down the
And
middle. It wasn't like he cut the top off.
right, it went up like this.
Okay.
And they said it could be a lot more stitches if the nail didn't hold. But unfortunately, because the nail's on there, it's going to bleed a lot more because it's ripped under the nail. But the nail, because it's on both sides, it's just gross. You know, poor guy. But he still
Yeah.
hasn't complained about pain yet. So
I,
that's good.
I almost want to say the ones that have hurt more for me have been like when they're straight down versus like vertical.
Ugh, just gross. But, we took him to a specialist today to make sure he didn't have like major problems, but there's nothing that they can really do.
Well, that's good. At least he didn't lose his thumb.
Yeah. Well, one of his fingers, like his pinky finger, he can't bend anymore
My dad, yeah, same thing
because
with my dad.
he had a hatchet go through it when he was a little kid,
Oh,
and his
okay.
mom didn't take him to the hospital. She just taped it up.
Oh no, yeah. Back then it was a Band-Aid. You're fine.
Yep. But yeah, and then so I mowed the grass because we've got company coming in on Saturday night,
Okay.
and one of the blades fell off.
Uh-oh.
So, and I was like, it's not mowing right, because it kept leaving like a row. Because
Mm-hmm.
it has 3 blades on it, maybe 4. No, 3 blades, and they're all 26-inch blades, and there's like 3 of them. So the one on the right side wasn't on there; it fell off. But
Okay.
I didn't have time to put it back on and stuff, so I just mowed with lopsided all day, or for an extra longer
I'm sure it
time.
still did okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go back and mow it again tomorrow though, because what happened was wherever I drove over it at first, where the blade didn't go, I think I was
Right.
just pushing the grass down, and then grass was falling into the hole over
Oh.
wherever the tire treads were. So there's like these rows, these 3-inch rows where the tire
You're just
went.
starting a new trend.
Yeah. Oh, here's another new trend. I couldn't find a. That's why I was late too. I hate little cups. I wanted a big cup,
Okay.
and I couldn't find a big cup. So I'm using my pasta, my thing that I put
Ah.
pasta in.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
bye,
Nico,
Nico.
please.
And so while Ed's there last night, he's texting me about it because we were going to stream together last night with Skipper. And he sends me, what did you say, Code Red or something at one point?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, because Code Red in Star Trek, means bad. We're about to be attacked or something. So I'm like, wait, what happened? What's going on? And he's like, no, I got myself a Code Red Mountain Dew. And I'm like, God damn it, you freaked me out, Ed.
I didn't even think about that. That's pretty funny though.
Also, hello, everybody in chat. We got a lot of people hanging out today. Happy to have you all here. Scotty was first.
Funky's here.
Yes, Oinky just got here. Hello, hello. Dennis, Metalheads, what's going on? Caleb,
Why,
John,
Ray?
Patty, everybody's here. Patty complimented
Oh.
my shirt. Thank you, Patty. It's one of my shirts, actually. You can get it on my merch store that is still closing as of September because not enough people use it, unfortunately.
Oh. Can we talk about Caleb for a minute?
Sure.
Okay. Caleb, have you already got the fish for your 75-gallon tank?
Oh, that's right. Caleb was asking us that.
Because I had a whole thing I had wrote up that I had thought would be a good idea for a tank.
Oh.
And it's on my notes from last night. Should I run and get them?
Sure.
I can just remember.
Okay, he said he did not
I'll
get
just
the
try
fish
to
yet.
remember. Okay, good. Okay, think about this. A 75, you can properly house 4 to 6 rope fish.
Oh.
Okay. I talked to Haley and she said they take so long to grow because they live for a long time, which is awesome because you don't want to have to buy new fish. She said for the first probably 5 to 10 years, you could get away with 10 rope fish in a 75.
Wow.
But still, we're not recommending that, but you can do it. The recommendation is 4 to 6. So I would go definitely 6 rope fish in a 75. And then I would get a cool pleco that doesn't get over 7 inches. So like your phantoms would be awesome. A phantom, blue or green phantom pleco would look awesome. You have your bristle nose. You have vampires. Vampire plecos are pretty cool. So there's a lot of neat plecos that stay under 7 inches. I'd get one pleco to be in there with those guys. And then I might, if you want some action, Pictus catfish would be really cool.
This is true.
You can get like 5 or 6 of them, and they would be like all over the place swimming. They got big, long whiskers. They're really cool. You could get like one rainbow shark if you think sharks are cool, and it'll just kind of dart around, and it won't get too big. It'll probably get maybe 5 inches max. So, but I would just get one of them. Or if you don't want to do the shark, maybe you could go with you could get some like larger rainbows. Because that would be really cool. I think like Bosmanis would look really neat if you'd buy like 6 of them. And the rope fish are very nice, gentle fish. So that's why I'm saying they will eat live bears. So like guppies and platies are all not going to work. Mollies and swordtails will work, but they're going to eat their babies at night. So I would probably stick with something cool that's going to swim a lot around the top, and that would be your rainbows. That'd be awesome. And then you can feed the rope fish at night. But that was just Denison barbs might be really cool in that tank too. You could get like 5 Denison barbs. So, just because that's something that's just going to go back and forth on top. Maybe giant danios would be neat.
Yeah. Caleb says, what about that would be a cool display tank, but he's saying specifically for a display tank.
Well, I think it would be awesome to have rope
fish. It would still be a cool display tank, yes.
All your friends are going to think ropefish kick ass. They have lungs. They kind of look like snakes, but they're nice. They have little bitty fins up at the front. They also get along with eels. So if you wanted to get like a fire eel or what's that? Tire tread eel, or what's that? Tire tread, or is some type of an eel that looks like a
I know what you're talking about. Yes,
but yeah, there's some really cool eels, but I hate eels because they can be real big jerks when you don't realize it.
Mine is super sweet. I barely ever see it though, but he's cool. There's your rope fish, by the way. If y'all didn't know what a rope fish is.
I absolutely love ropefish, and
they're
I think
really
it'd be
cool.
Really
I
cool.
really wish I could house one.
And like they'll come out and watch you. Like when you come into your room from after school, they'll like come out from their hiding spots and look to see if you're going to start feeding and stuff.
There's
They
a
kind of have
lot
like a
more.
orange red belly.
A lot more fish do that than people think. John's always talking about how Oscars are the puppies of the fish keeping community because they always come out and look for you to feed them. But my African cichlids do it. Beta fish will do it too because they eventually recognize that, hey, this is the person that puts food in my tank. The Congo tetras do it. A lot of fish do it. There's just the bigger fish you can kind of see it more so than your smaller guys.
Oh my God, except for guppies that are just like,
oh, there's guppies are spastic all the time though.
No, but and then like bichers, I could suggest bichers, but I'm going to go rope fish first because rope fish won't get as big as a bicher. I absolutely love my favorite fish in the world are the bichers. And I lost my favorite bicher in the world last week, which really sucks, Bishi. But I waited till I found a bicher somewhere that would swim at the front because like there's ones that try to get your attention and that's the one you want.
Yeah.
My other two I got in an auction and they pretty much just hide in the back until I feed them. But when I'm not next to the tank, they're swimming all over the place and the cats love to watch them. But that's just my 2 cents. You don't have to do it. I just think it would look so cool. And then, if you do go with a pleco, though, you have to have some wood in there. You don't have to, but plecos like to, I forgot what it's called, not gnaw. They kind of chew on the wood, and they need the fiber.
Yeah, so some people don't know that a lot of the plecos need that like wood fiber just part of their diet, which is why some of the foods I think have started putting it like it'll say like wood fiber and stuff now. But yeah, I remember when I was looking at a couple of plecos, one was like make sure you got driftwood in there because they do need that wood in their diet.
Yeah, maybe it just gives them something to do,
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure it's all just inherit in their brains from what they were in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of betas, my solid white ghost placata started turning purple. Isn't it crazy how beta fish will do that? You'll have a solid color fish, and like 6-8 months down the road, it's completely different color.
Oh my gosh! Yes, I was videotaping Rob's fish store one day, showing all of his different betas, and somebody begged me to buy a beta. She ordered it from him, gave him the credit card number, and paid for everything. Okay, but Rob said he doesn't ship.
Yes.
So he gave me the fish, and he said, for tax purposes, I'm giving you the fish because he's not going to do out-of-state sales.
Right.
So what it was, she was buying a gift for me to send to her, basically.
Yes.
Is for the tax purposes. So I mailed her the fish, and it had already changed colors in like just the 2 weeks that I mailed it.
Oh. So did she think
and she said, you got me the wrong fish. And it's like, I know for 110% sure that was the same fish.
Yet betas are weird like that. Some like they very small of a color change, but then some it's like super dramatic.
Yeah, this one turned real blue.
I had James do that. When he did one of the live streams from Aquatic Marine, I was like, oh, look. I think he went by the beta fish section. I'm like, oh shoot, I shouldn't look. But there was like this solid red, I think it was a half moon placat. Maybe it was just a half moon or a full moon. I can't remember now. But it was a solid red color, like really vibrant red. And I was like, ooh, James, can I PayPal you the money for that fish and you ship it to
me? He has both those stores, Aquatic Marine and Aquatic Aesthetics. Both are really good.
I'm a little sad I didn't get to check out Aquatic Aesthetics while I was down there.
But I know all of his betas in over 10 gallons of water each, which is very nice. That's what, and then he also generally will have a a sorority tank too, if you want girls.
If you're skilled with keeping more aggressive tendency fish, Caleb, if beta sorority is always an option too. But if you're super new to the hobby, I would advise against it because they can be very problematic.
And I think I would start in a 40 breeder before I do a 75 because you're going to need a lot of females to disperse the aggression.
Yeah.
And I think a 75, you might need 25 to 35 girls in a 75 just so they don't pick each
Yeah.
other off.
But I mean, if you had enough dither fish in there, you could probably do it with a slightly smaller group too. I've not done anything bigger than a 20, so I'm not exactly sure what the number would be or what the rule of thumb is, because I'm drawing a blank right now.
Well, there's not a true rule of thumb because the high ups say don't do it, but then I've seen so many people do it. You know.
Yeah, I remember when I was starting it, there was like some of the
Window
bigger
licker.
channels.
Hi, Pep.
Hey guys, I was like, one of the people was like, "Oh, you shouldn't do a sorority. They work good for a couple weeks, and then it's a like a whirlwind of chaos and all this stuff." But then you got people like Lisa that shows you how to do it, and she's not had problems with her fish being that way. I didn't have problems with mine being aggressive. I had the issue of I'm convinced it was a genetic issue with mine because they all ended up getting the same thing. So I'm just going to assume it was some kind of weak genetic thing where they all had the same internal condition and just keeled over.
What I don't like about bettas anymore. They used to live, it seemed like 4 years in the 80s. They seem to live so much longer. But you basically had red and blue and maybe a green. There wasn't all these fancy ones. And I think they're so inbred. I mean, I've never had a tumor on a betta in my life growing up. And now I see it all the time.
And it feels like there's a lot more tumors, like
cancer.
All the ones I had, it was like, oh, they'd be fine for like a year and a half, 2 years. And then all of a sudden I see tumors. I'm like, what is going on? And I think the same thing. It's just at this point we're overbreeding and just using similar things constantly. And unless they want to start infusing more wild stuff into them and not have the same colors and patterns everyone likes, we're going to keep running into that issue. Because we see the same thing with guppy breeding. If you keep line breeding the same thing all the time and don't infuse, eventually you get, deformations and stuff.
Yeah. I don't understand the breeders because the idea of always using the same fish to get what you really want makes sense. It just, you're homing in the pattern of the DNA. But after a while, the DNA is just going to all be the same.
Yeah.
And you want it, they want it to fit perfect, but we can't have it just perfect. Breeders have got to start trading more with other breeders. And to get the DNA mixed a little better, because but the thing is, this person's Hellboy plakat is made from something totally different from this Hellboy plakat, I think. And then when they mix them, all of a sudden they got mustard gas in it, or something, something weird. And it's just, I don't know. It's just a tough, because it's all a puzzle that they're trying to put together to make the perfect fish, but they can only make it so long without it getting sick. Well, I'm really ranty today, guys.
No, it's great. We haven't talked this much fish in a long time. But no, like when we were when we went to the CCY swap, there's a woman who imports them from Indonesia. I don't know if she's got family over there or what, but she brought in 2 new betas. One is a brand new pattern. It's literally a perfect checkerboard pattern on the whole fish's body. So it was like a deep amber red color and then black checkerboard in like a perfect checker pattern. And she said it's brand new.
How many brothers and sisters had to mate with each other to get that,
And then she had another one that had like a flower on it.
That could be tattooed.
I can see why they'd list Beta Splendas as the vulnerable to extinction list. But at the same time, I wonder if it would be kind of like, the goodie is where the hobby could just breed a metric crap ton of them and just re-release them in the wild.
Yeah. Peplin thinks I should buy one of those awesome saws that as soon as you put a hot dog on it, it stops.
Yeah.
It's there. That's what schools have for their shop classes. Dude, if I had enough money to do that, I'm dead serious. I would not do it. I
I
would
still
buy
don't
a
know how they
bandsaw.
work.
I would love to have a bandsaw.
We've got because my dad was in construction, so we've got like one of everything in the basement. We haven't used it in years, but we have the tools in case we need them.
That's awesome. I would love to be able to cut curves and things. Be so nice.
He's got all that.
Right now,
we have a drill press from like the old Remington Arms factory that used to be in Connecticut. It's a big industrial drill press just sitting in our garage.
I have a little bitty jigsaw, which is like thin plywood. I mean, it's almost pathetic. Table saw, which is really good. Well, good at cutting fingers off too. And a chop saw. Because we've built a couple of houses, so chop saws come in handy, and so do table saws. Like I bought that table saw 15 years or 20 some years ago when we were building our houses, because I was in charge of cutting all the paneling for the vinyl for our houses. So what we do is we have two teams. We'd have 4 guys on one side and 4 on the other. And one guy was like maybe a girl, and she would just run me the measurements from the 2 teams. And then I would cut them, but then I'd write down what the other one was, and I would have the whole living room, because it's an empty living room because the house is being built, of all these different sizes everywhere. Plus, I was cutting them. I had it mastered after 3 houses.
Well, that's good.
We did mine in about a day.
Wow.
But my brother-in-law's took about 3 days, and my dad's took maybe 2. So we just kept getting it more perfected.
I'm trying to think. The last like big project my dad and I built was our old shed at the old house.
I'm going to be building a wall tonight.
And then
my fish room.
I helped my sister finish her neighbor's basement and her basement while I was living up there. We did all the carpentry, and then my brother-in-law ran all the electrical. Because up there, they live in northern Maine, so either you do it yourself or you pay through the nose to have some contractor come out and do it. Because there's nobody up there.
Well, we do it all ourselves because that's how we roll.
Ooh, window liquor. That sounds awful. And I'm very sorry you had that happen. Tried betas when I first got in the hobby. It went very bad. I thought I was going to breed them. 1 male, 4 females, total war of the roses, everybody died. Yeah, that is the thing people don't really know, or they don't really tell you a lot of when you're breeding betas, is it can be very messy and deadly.
Yeah, I think the worst part about breeding betas would be, what do you do with all these babies? I mean, they can grow up together, but then you got to separate them when they get bigger. Oh, he's on the phone. So that's the tough thing for me, is I'd have to have like 100, probably 200 masonry jars to put them all in, just to grow them out, and then I have to find homes for them. And I don't even like to ship fish anywhere. I'm so happy that I was able to ship guppies to California and they didn't die to Jimmy P last week. But boy, I was nervous about the whole thing. It did not make me feel good.
Sorry, I got a phone call from my Faja.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, I saw the metalheads last week, but I saw them this week. But I watched them after the show.
Was it this past Monday where you found out he's doing a Friday stream again? Metalhead, what time's your Friday stream?
Oh, wait, when did he quit doing them? I thought he's been doing them
Friday
for a while.
The name.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Dr. Anthony, what's going on?
Dr. Anthony. The Husky is here too.
I made him a little present for his Friday streams. I hope he likes it.
That's when you sell it at the swap.
Speaking of swaps, you have the perfect fish on, don't you? Or shirt on, don't you guys have an event thingy soon, Ed?
Oh, well, actually, no.
Oh,
it's the Chattanooga Club is having it. This is the Knoxville Club.
Okay.
East Tennessee AA Aquarium Association, I'm guessing. Oh, Look at Aquatic Association. How nice is that? They put it underneath. No more guessing. And then the Chattanooga Club, though, they've got one in August, I think August 8th. And I'm really looking forward to that one. It's normally really big, which is really surprising. We've had it now 3 times, and tables are only $10. And what I normally do is Bob and I will both buy a table each. So it costs $20 for 2 tables.
Okay.
And then I bring a whole bunch of pop and water and I give them out free. And we give stickers out for the YouTube. We put the Tennessee Fish Mafia sign up. And then any Fish Mafia or, anybody that's a YouTuber that wants to sell fish or, you know, you just watch YouTube. I mean, you're all part of the fish fam. But you don't have enough for a whole table, you can sell them on our table.
Oh, that's
And we just
nice.
take the profit. No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. But like, oh, I don't want to say Tina White, Tiffany White.
Yes.
Uh, she and she's an amazing breeder. She is crazy good looking angels. She'll bring her angels in rainbow fish and sell them. And I'll bring a few guppies. I think Susan, the fish mom, brought some stuff up and sold stuff. I don't know if Bob had anything for sale or not. But yeah, that's pretty fun.
Okay. Yeah,
Tiffany
I
White's
thought I
awesome.
was scrolling through and saw something on Facebook about one. I wasn't sure when it was.
Yep. And then we all normally go out to eat afterwards.
The good doctor wishes to know when the Chattanooga Club's inviting him out to speak.
Well, the Chattanooga Club is a super small club. They don't even have a place to speak.
Ah.
What we there, the guy in charge that was setting it all up had a heart attack and died.
I remember that was like right before you and James did your first talk there, right?
Yeah. And they did his eulogy right before we talked.
Great timing.
Oh, yeah. Nobody laughed at anything I said. And then but oh well.
I shall be right back.
But what they'll do is they'll go to different like fish stores, and the fish stores are really nice. They give us water and maybe like moon pies, and then they'll like ask the fish store to do a little talk about something they're trying to sell or something, and then we all get together and we talk, and then we leave. So we just did one 2 months ago over at the big pond store in our city, and I ended up buying about $50 worth of water hyacinth. And now I've got a hookup on water hyacinth because I used to have a fish store here in town. There's a pond store. It's called Ponds and Plants. Well, it got shut down because of legal stuff, and real big bummer. I really like that store a lot. That was the store that Bob and I used to go to and videotape, and everybody loved watching the videos from it because it was like kind of going into Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses. You walked in, you didn't know if you were in heaven or hell. It's like the whiff of they for the longest time they had crickets in there that stunk so bad. This terrible cricket smell would come in. They finally got those out, so the smell wasn't nearly as bad. But you walk in and they had an old school fish setup, and it looked like it was from the 60s or the early 70s. It was crazy how he had it set up. And then you went back to another area and they had a whole lot of reptiles. And then they had a tour thing because the guy makes aquarium or zoo exhibits. So he had aquarium setups and zoo exhibits, like the cages with the concrete, how he'd make them. And he had like anacondas back there and monkeys and caiman. Uh, every fish that people would bring in, the because they got too big for their fish tanks, he would put in the Cayman pond, and he had this huge glass, or well, not glass, but ceramic plastic thing across, all the way across it. But it was about 5 feet deep, but it was probably 3,000 gallons because it went real long. And the guy's just trying to advertise to zoos to hire him to set things up. And he used to be a zookeeper in the Miami Zoo until it got hit by the hurricane way back. And then he decided to relocate and do this. But it was really neat because he would take all these super big fish and put them in there. And he had those pearl giant grammies. I mean, they were probably close to 3 foot. They were just, and they get so ugly when they're gigantic. But he had all these big fish in there, and the caiman would just eat the stuff I was going to say the chicken he feeds them, but I have no idea what he feeds them. But they would just wait to be fed by the humans instead of trying to eat all those big fish. It was really neat. And he had an Australian lungfish, which is supposed to be super hard to get, but because of his zookeeper abilities, he was able to get that. He had a lot of really neat stuff. He had legless lizards. So it was kind of like going to a zoo. And then he also owned a petting zoo. So for $1, you could walk through their petting zoo, which had llamas and pigs and goats and all sorts of cool critters, and a giant koi pond to feed the koi. Well, you could do that, but I went there all the time, so they just let me walk through it whenever I wanted for free because I bought a lot of fish and food from them. But and Hyacinth, that long story short, that's what happened. Is he had to shut down because of legal issues, and lost my super cool fish store. It was called Ponds and Plants. Do you remember us talking about that?
I don't think I've ever heard you talk about that one before.
It's been shut down for maybe 3 years.
Oh, thanks, Dr. Anthony. I appreciate it.
Oh, what did Dr. Anthony do?
He bought himself a t-shirt.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That is super cool. I'm going to have to go on there and check those t-shirts out too.
I've tried to come up with one for our show, but I don't know how I would do it.
I tell you, Oinky sent me a picture of a Cthulhu sweater. I think it might even glow in the dark.
Oh, I don't think I can do that.
Oh, I know. I'm so tossed about buying. See, the problem is it never gets cold. So I own one Cthulhu sweater already, and I wear it on Christmas normally. That's it. And it's normally too hot, and I have to take it off because I have to put a t-shirt on. Like we actually, like a lot of times, have our Christmas dinner on the porch, like a picnic in the backyard. At Christmas. It's so different from when we lived in Missouri and Iowa Christmases.
Oh, Winky, I just got back. I just read your message. Apparently, Winky's been bringing their 10-year-old nephew into hobby and live chats. He's sat with her and, modded Prime Times. And she wanted to know if it's okay to bring him here. He can hang out with you. I don't care. We'll try to keep it, I'll try to keep the swearing to a minimum if you let me know he's here. But I think that's great that you're trying to bring him into the hobby.
Dr. Anthony's wearing a Tennessee Fish Mafia shirt.
He said he's waiting for his Tennessee Fish Mafia.
He's waiting.
I'm sure once he gets it, he'll wear it constantly while he's out in the jungle traversing for fish.
Yeah.
That baking in that nice black shirt in the sunlight all day. Oh, that'd be a good idea, Select Pet. Because the problem is we don't just talk fish. It's more of, the whole variety thing. So I'd have to look back at old variety shows and see if there's a common thread or whatever pictures they would use to promote them or something.
Select Pet made the design for me.
That is a very nice hat. I like the white outline on the edges. I think it makes it pop.
Thanks. I don't make any money off them, but they're cool. And they don't fit my head, which stinks. I have a very round head, and Grant loves it. He says this fits my head better than it. And Grant's hat fits my head perfect. It's so weird.
Hey, Jason, what's going on, Mr. Dips Unknown?
My dungeon master. I wonder if he's going to tell us that we're going to have a surprise pop-up session of Dungeons and Dragons tonight at 9:00.
Oh. Hey,
He's
Boots
not.
Cats, Boots Cats, Boots Cats, what's going on?
We tease him all the time about it because
I
we
think I
just
added an
want
extra
to play all
Boots
the
Cats
time.
to that.
Boots Cats. But yeah. Well, Oinky, let us know what your nephew likes in fish, and maybe we can help you out any way we can. Because that would be awesome.
She said my nephew has probably heard a lot of colorful metaphors out of me. But I do thank you for that. Listen, I learned how to swear from my grandmother, who was told she swore like a trucker. So that's right. But my first swear word I learned from her, and my mother blamed my father, left all up and down until he's like, he learned it from your mother.
My mom does not believe in cussing whatsoever.
Oh.
My mom is kind of like Mary Poppins. Okay. And so she, like, I don't even want to say the light, like gray words she gets offended by.
Oh.
Like bodily gas that starts with an F. That's real basic stuff, but boy, she doesn't like that either.
No.
So, but her favorite comedian is Richard Pryor.
Oh.
Somehow she has the ability not to understand a single bad word he says.
No, my grandmother's favorite word was F-U-C-K. And she would just come out with everything else she was saying.
Yeah. You'll never hear that from my mom.
Then my aunt, on the other hand, can't swear at all. But instead of swearing, like when someone cuts her off or does something stupid while she's driving, instead of swearing at them, she calls them a dickhead. My mom's like, that's worse than just saying fuck. It's worse. But then you can skirt around it because you can say frack like they did on Battlestar Galactica. Would you ever? I remember an interview where they had Starbuck, the girl who played Starbuck, and then Adama, and they both were like, we'd actually have to say it with the actual swear word and then change it to frack because it was so hard to say frack when they first started filming the show. Because like in that first season, like every other word out of their mouth was frack this and frack that. But they had to say it with the actual U instead of the A at first to get used to saying it.
One of the other things he used to say a lot was balls.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I met him, and got his autograph at Comic-Con in Chicago. And he was so upset that the new Starbuck was a girl. So he wrote everyone, he said, balls.
Hey, Paul.
So funny. But he was a really nice guy. He was really
clean,
awesome.
Select Pet. Don't worry. I don't think the kid's here.
Well, Caleb's a kid.
He's a young adult. If you make
Caleb mad, Jess and her corgis will hunt you down.
Oh.
He's not a kid. He's 16.
That's why I said young adult.
Caleb, I was guessing you were, well, not guessing. I was just thinking that she taught like fourth graders. I don't know why. I'm sorry, Caleb.
My friend that has a barn, she does all ages. She starts at like 5 all the way up to like 90 years old with her clients.
Well, I don't know why I thought it was fourth graders. I mean, I talked to her in Dallas.
Oh, Caleb said high schoolers.
Okay. I don't know. They're probably, I bet he's taller than her.
Listen, Metalhead, I used to have the parental 18 and up thing on the streams, and then I realized that for whatever reason, when you click that box, it kills the people that see it. It must be like when you set stuff to for YouTube Kids. It just, for whatever reason, people never see that it's been posted after the fact. So I switched it back. Plus, Ed and I aren't usually that bad when it comes to talking about stuff.
My threadfin acara female is egg bound. It's really bad. She's all swollen up. And right now, the Severin and the Red Devil are chasing the poor thing in circles.
Oh no! Now, do you
Oh
do the
my
same
God,
thing?
they're teaming up on her.
Do you guys do the same thing for them that we do for female betas if they get egg bound and just crank the heat up a little bit?
She doesn't have a boy in there.
Oh, well, maybe ours don't. I had one female that was egg bound. Elisa just was like, turn the heat up, she'll be fine, and she was fine.
I think I'm gonna have to see. Maybe the Beischer used to keep the piece in there because Beischer wouldn't like people swimming in circles around her.
Hey, new awesome.
And so the Beischer would just turn and look at the cichlets, and they would just go to the bottom. But I think I'm gonna have, after this stream, I'm gonna pull her and put her in a 55 I have that's empty in the fish. Well, it's filled, but there's no fish in it.
So I'm considering when I get my refund check from school, I may get some puffers. I'll have to move the goodiots though. What do y'all? I was talking to Leo last night, and I was like, but then I'm looking. I'm torn between getting some angelfish and putting them in this tank and trying angels again, or just getting the puffer I was looking at for this tank instead, or moving the goodiots from this tank into another tank that I have down in the basement. It's only got one cichlid left in it, and putting the puffers down there. I don't know yet.
Can't handle it. I had to turn all the lights off on that tank.
New
Drop some food in there too.
Hurt Dr. Anthony's feelings.
What happened to Dr. Anthony?
Oh, I guess new Uncle Austin doesn't say hi to him anymore. Yeah, were they wild caught discus that you bought? Apparently, Dr. Anthony purchased 57 discus yesterday.
Whoa! I bet you that cost him arm and a leg. Since he deals with headhunters. No, I don't know. I'm just being stupid. That was terrible.
Also, how's Nico? There were no adverse effects after week?
No. Nico's just fine, except now he's super, super spoiled. Because I basically stayed with him around the clock for 6 days. And he never had a single symptom. And I called the emergency vet on, I guess it was Sunday. And they said if he's not got diarrhea, constipation, which is kind of hard to tell, peeing uncontrollable drooling, lethargic and won't get up, and not eating or drinking.
Right.
If he had one of those signs, there is a chance that the lilies were poisoning him. But he's just as hyper and eats nonstop and nothing else happening to him. So, Nico, come on, jump up here. Right now
So I'm looking at my packing slips for you like that. The goodies, they're the San Marcos ones that Skull sent. The ones that get the little orangey on them. I don't know the rest of the name, but I remember they're San Marcos ones. I have those, and I have the Tiger Limas, I think, are downstairs. I took some pictures and videos of them because those things are going like gangbusters down there.
Oh, NLA is New Local Austin. I meant to give him some of the Dr. Anthony's guppies when I was down there.
Oh.
I forgot. I had all that crisis happen right before the show last time and wasn't thinking about anything fun at the time. Unfortunately.
And I just put the name in the chat for you. I believe that's what they were. Remember, they're the other ones. That's the only one I have a packing slip for. So that could be the wrong ones. That might be the wrong ones.
So what type of puffers were you thinking about buying?
Well, at first I was looking at a spotted Congo puffer, and putting him in this tank with the community fish. And if he's okay, I know some people it's like a split, because like a year ago, if you read up on them, it was like, oh, they're good for community tanks, they're fine. Just make sure the fish in there aren't smaller than their mouths, and you'll be okay. Now it seems like the internet has split flopped in saying that was a misconception. They aren't good in community tanks.
I think how I interpreted it was Congo tetras are good community among themselves. Like you can have a group of Congos together, and it's really hard to get a group of any type of puffers.
Yeah. But then,
so they're one that does.
When I talked to Fantastic Freaks at Aquaticon 2 years ago, I said these were the two I'm looking at, and he said I'd probably be okay with a spotted Congo puffer in a community tank, which is the only reason I'm still considering it. My issue is I can't see spending $200 on one fish and then having it either die mysteriously or just, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm actually thinking about maybe I'll do a group of Amazon puffers in this tank down here instead, and then just move those goodieads into a different tank.
Yeah.
Because I think I have peat puffers and I love them, but I think I want to try something a little bit bigger, and I'm thinking maybe Amazon puffers would be the way to go. And then if I get them all at the same time, if I have to deworm or anything, I can just do it all at once in one tank versus having to pull out the puffer and stress it out and putting in a different tank, and as minimal movement as possible to reduce as much stress as I could on the fish, basically.
I think that would be a real. What is going on? I'm getting like a million messages on Facebook. I don't know if my mouse was hovering over it, but I would definitely think that Amazons would be the way to go at first, just to get more used to them, and then just graduating up to the bigger. I mean, I would love to get Congos, but I mean, at $200 a piece, you're talking $1,000.
Yes, yeah, that's my problem. Like, I like them. Oh, and now Dr. Anthony said, "Let me know." I'm thinking about 50. I'm thinking about 50 shipped home. Man, oh my goodness. Whew.
Is that 50 Amazon
I'm assuming
puffers?
Amazon puffers, yeah.
Boy, I would love to see what Amazon puffers look like in the wild. Wouldn't it be neat to see like
it would
1,000 little guys?
That would be pretty cool. Why can't I see these orders? Because I don't think they were the Anachroma Splendids. I think they were like a yellow cichlid, because I remember seeing them on Wet Spot and being like, ooh, those are kind of cool. But now I can't find them. And I know I asked in the CCY Facebook group at some point about them because people knew what they were. But I'd have to actually go back and find that at this point, but I don't think I will. I don't know if they were actually the Splendens or not. They might have been something else.
Mike says he would spend $400 on a tank over the fish. That makes sense. But if he already has the tank, hey.
True.
And Lefty's limited on his tank space.
Yes, I can't really add any more. I'm trying to maybe devise a way that I can keep the 20 from school and set it up somewhere. But I have to see if maybe it'll fit down here or if it'll fit up here or what I can do. But I can't get anything bigger than that, basically. Dr. Anthony said we're going to have 100 plus puffers in our large 20-foot long tank. That will be a sight to see.
Dr. Anthony, you're so cool.
That is a trip I hope I can make at some point. Just get down to there, check out the facility.
Yeah. James was trying to convince me to start saving up to go down there, and it's like, I just don't know if I can afford it. And then
yeah,
I don't know how long it would take me to save that much. How much does, Dr. Anthony, how much does a general ticket on an airplane cost to get down there and back?
I'm wondering, like, I'm assuming he has to take connecting flights from where he flies out of. on the West Coast. I'm wondering maybe it's a more direct route for us because we're on the East Coast.
Well, probably not for me because I'm in a little town, unless I went down to Atlanta.
Oh,
But
then
you're in a lot
said,
bigger hub.
yeah, I've got like 3 or 4 international airports all about the same distance. So like I said, I would vote for Cichlids and Goodyears together. They'll probably be okay. Those Goodyears are pretty tough and often keep with Cichlids. See, it's all, I bought a pair and his mate died, and I never got to breed them. So I kind of just want to throw him in one of my tanks because at this point, he's alone in the tank I got from the class last year from Carrie because it was cracked, even though it hasn't leaked once. And he's just in there with some snails. And I kind of, at this point, if I'm going to be doing the puffers, just take them out, put them in there, and let them have their own space downstairs. My only problem is that tank doesn't have a lid, so I have to put some saran wrap on top of it.
Oh, man. That's a drag.
See, if I don't put lids on my tanks, the water evaporates crazy fast because of where I am.
Well, what about just laying a piece of plexiglass of some sort? Like just a cheap piece that you can like lay over it. And then when people come or you want to look at it, you can take it off real easy. But, it would just be just a whole sheet. You just slide it off and on. But saran wrap is going to be such a pain in the butt.
I did it with these 10s up here. It wasn't that bad. I put it on, and then I used painter's tape just to seal the edges so that there was no like condensation, drip, and spillage all the time. It worked pretty well. And I often do that now to seal up gaps in certain tanks, like with the wild betas and stuff I had that were jumpers, or the Goodyears.
A hole in the top for food or what?
I have the plastic with a little like small cutout for your like heater and light cord to come out of the tank. Those little holes is where I've had jumpers. So I usually take a piece of like packing tape or something and just seal those holes up now. Like I'll poke a hole so the cords can get through, but then I seal it up.
That's interesting. I'm thinking about adding a tank to my bedroom for the first time.
Oh.
But it's going to be a fancy pants one.
Okay. But yeah, I'm trying to can I reconfigure everything? Can I move things around? I still want a Higer makes an 8-gallon that I want to put here because the dimensions are perfect for it. Just trying to convince them to let me have one for free so I can product test it versus spending the money on it, since I can't really be spending too much money right now.
Well, look at that. Caleb said to go to Peru, the tickets are $617.
SelectBet just said round trip flights to Peru from Knoxville economy is $1,020.
Wow. Okay. I could sell.
And Dr. Andy said all flights go through Lima and then Lima to Iquitos.
Oh, Lima makes me so mad what they did with his fish. Or was that in Laos?
Don't know.
Laos is the one place we don't want to go.
My dad
pretty gross
was
place
in Laos at one point.
Ew.
Wasn't supposed to be, but he was during the war. Yeah, we got a couple minutes left, and then it's Coldwater's turn to go. And I'm going to probably be eating during Coldwater's, but I'll try and make an appearance, and I'll also try to be at Metalheads tonight because I want to see if he enjoys what I made him.
Oh, nice. Oh, I was thinking about your Pokemon I made you.
Yes.
Don't put that in a fish tank. It's not fish tank safe.
I figured it wasn't. I was going to put it right here on this shelf.
Hey.
But thank you for reminding me.
I bet Caleb would think it's cool, especially if he's 16.
Metalhead, what product did they send you that you broke? I have yet to break anything, and I had their water changer explode because I closed the valve and we have high water pressure.
Is this Josh or is this Jess? Which
I'm assuming it's Josh. She'd be on her account, probably.
Is it Lady or
I'm assuming
Mayhem?
it's Mr. Oinky said, I have a 20-gallon high infinity tank with a wraparound basin. I love it. Ed's seen the video on it. But debating
It's
about
very
what to
cool.
put in it. The water is all the way to the top. High and adjustable flow. I
would do some type of Tetra.
Glow light Tetris.
No. Or green Tetras is Joanne's favorite Tetra in the world. She talks about them all the time, and I like them.
Or maybe CPDs.
Put orders on them. Yeah, CPD.
I'm trying to think of things that are more like mid to bottom-ish level versus upper. Because if it's the infinity thing, anything on the upper is probably going to get too, sucked in. So I would say maybe CPDs. Tetras would be a good bet. Glow lights stay nice and tiny.
I would stay away from the live bears because they're all going to get, all the babies are just going to get flushed over.
Emerald Irasporas maybe would be a good bet. I like those. Those stay middle.
No shrimp. Because the shrimp won't know it, and he's just going to be swimming around, and then all of a sudden gets sucked over the side.
So Metalhead said it was the 50-foot cleaner. I broke the connector. They sent me a new connector right away and told me help. Was it the water changer, or was it like their gravel pump thingy? How did you break the connector? What?
He's a mechanic, though, so he probably knows how to fix things better than
Dr. Anthony said, don't forget my live stream tomorrow, the California crew plus skipper. Dr. Anthony, if you already got it scheduled and everything, if you want to drop the link, go right ahead.
Fish. Oh, wait. I'm looking at a video from... Oh, my gosh. Must have been when Baby Cat walked across the screen because the rope fish popped up on the other screen.
Hey, Muppet. But yeah, so I did a poll yesterday about people's favorite Tetras, and Ed participated in it. I was limited because I did it on the image feature, which really limits you on how many pictures you can put on it. So I put my like 4 tops on there. The choices were Bloodfin, Cardinal, Lemon, or Serpe. And
the worst one.
Was tied.
Because I was mad.
It was super. Listen, I can only put 4 pictures. I'll do another one with other kinds. I tried to keep them all like similar-ish. So it was tied before the stream. So I posted it on Facebook and said people need to go vote to break this tie. So in last place, which kind of doesn't surprise me because I guess a lot of people don't like these, Lemon Tetras got 20% of the vote.
I voted for them because I thought they were the worst.
And then Cardinals and Serpe Tetras came in second at 25% of the vote. And then my new personal favorite Tetra, the Bloodfin, came in top with 30%.
I would probably go with the Serpa as the best one. I like Cardinals, but they die a lot on me. They're just not strong. And Neon Tetras live like twice as long. I mean, seriously, a Neon Tetra will live 8 years. A Cardinal will live about 3, if you're lucky. So how about next time do colored neons? Like you could do a Cardinal again, but then you could go with the green neon green, the black, which is my favorite. White skirt Tetra.
Mm-hmm. But I will say from the comments, if I added these options, my guess would be that glow lights would have probably won, and then second where I would have been Congo Tetras. Those were the two.
I wrote Congo Tetra. I think I wrote Congos
and glow lights a lot in the comments. So maybe I'll go through the comments and pick what people suggested the most and put those on there, and then really see who wins. Okay, Oinky said, thanks so much. I'm trying to be careful with this particular tank. The tank has the fish have to handle high flow and not topple right over the edge. Okay, I mean you could go a little bit bigger and do a group of Congo Tetras technically, which would be able to handle the flow and wouldn't just flop over the edge like a smaller fish.
Is it a 20 or a 40?
20. So you could do a small group of Congos if you want.
Congos are so cool.
Also,
you get Congos and black Neon Tetras.
Yeah, Dr. Anthony put the link
for his stream
get about tomorrow,
this big.
so make sure you check her out. But Ed, we're
Oh,
out
sure.
of time. We are 2 minutes over, and Coldwater is live. I don't want to go too far over him, so I'm gonna say thank you all for being here. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next Friday. I don't think I have anything going on next week. On something might come up. I don't know, but we'll let you know. And Ed, do you have any streams this weekend you want to tell people about, or tonight?
No, we aren't doing football until August.
Okay.
We're taking the time off. I've thought about doing a pop-up or seeing if anybody wants to do one tonight during the time of 10:30 to 11:30, just so I don't lose all my hours this week. But I'm not in desperate need of hours at all. I mean, I'm way over. It's just I hate seeing my whatever graphics die,
Yeah.
take a sink because I skip a week. And I don't know what that does for analytics, skipping a week.
I
But
don't.
I just and I get the same people every week, so it just
I
doesn't
really don't
matter.
think. I think once you hit the watch time, it doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, and the shorts are just so inconsistently crazy.
Oh yeah, they've been all over the place. It sucks.
I did a short last night of the emergency room because we were the only people there.
Mm-hmm.
And because I never got a sub from it, it got 4,500 views.
Wow.
But I bet as soon as I would have got a sub, they would have turned it off.
I posted one yesterday, got 2 views in like the first 3 hours, and then I woke up today and it had like 100 and something. I think I'm back in that rut where for whatever, like the first few hours it gets nobody, and then for whatever reason it starts pushing it. Anyway, we're gonna go because now we're 4 minutes into Coldwater's time. I'm gonna end with a commercial for the merch store. People that showed up late and didn't hear me talk about it. Goodbye.
Bye.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled video to remind you that we have merch. If you go to lefty32138.sellfy.store, you'll be brought to our lovely merch store where we have a bunch of different t-shirts designed by me, along with some bags, some coffee mugs, because we all need that kick of caffeine throughout the day. And then, of course, a good old water bottle to refresh us from all that caffeine. We do occasionally do limited run shirts, which will only be available for a certain amount of time before they disappear. Keep an eye out if you want any of those ones.